Recently, I test ran a Cox Thermal Hopper 049 engine that I had added to my collection of small glow engines. Like many of the older engines, it's not real easy to mount in an airplane, but there was a birdcage engine mount that was available for it, and I was lucky enough to have one sent to me. I had to clean up the reeds, but then I got the engine running really well. Like many kids of my generation, when I was about 10 years old, I started flying with a Cox Baby 049 on a profile all balsa control line, sort of like this one. The reed valve 049s ran pretty well until you got dirt in the reed. And then when I was about 13, I got into radio control and used the front rotary engines, OS Max or Vico. When I got into some outdoor free flight as an adult, I did rubber powered and discus launch gliders, and then electric E36, and it worked really well, but I wanted to try glow again. So I started out really basic with a Cox PeeWee 020 reed valve engine in a PeeWee 30 model called the Basic Yeller, and I even won at the Nats one year and got second place another year because there wasn't a whole lot of competition, but it was a good way to get started in glow. I purchased a half-A Viking and a half-A Blazer kit, and I started building the Viking and decided, I'd try it electric power to start with. And then the Blazer, I was able to purchase a used one, so I haven't built that yet. But I noticed on the plans with these engines that I had never seen, like the Thermal Hopper and the Holland Hornet. This Blazer has a Baby engine on it. I was thinking about the advantages of a reed valve over a front rotary engine, and one thing is there's not the hole through the crankshaft, which makes for a lighter and cheaper to manufacture crankshaft as seen in this TD049. And here's the Baby without the hole in the crankshaft. It's also nice to have the needle valve in the rear of the engine. I've got a couple of other engines that are reed valve from other manufacturers other than Cox. Here's a K&B, and I've also got an OK Cub small 024 that has a reed valve. There are two layers in the Thermal Hopper reed valve, and you have to make sure you get them in the right order. Before I cleaned up the reed valve, the engine ran, but it ran really slow. The single layer copper reed valve is what I remember from the Baby from my childhood. Mylar replacement reed valves are available. I use that in this PeeWee. The shape of the reed valve has changed in later engines. I clamped my Thermal Hopper down to a test stand and did some runs the other day, and I was really pleased. It started right up. I had put a spring starter on it, but it doesn't really fit, but it helps with the backward starting. I use this tip from Bill Schmidt to just put prime on the piston and not in the cylinder, and it really did help starting. Well, this time it started backwards, so I'll use the spring. I tacked it at about 17,000 RPM, which I thought was pretty good on a 5.3 APC prop using 35% nitro. So in its time, I guess this was a pretty good free flight engine. I know Lee Hines said he used it in the ramrod, half-A ramrod. Well, I might have to fly this in something.